Hello, welcome once again to Time Between Times storytelling with me, Owen Staton. It's that time of year again, just on the horizon. Here we are in the middle of January, and we're thinking about the middle of February, the day of Saint Valentine, the patron saint of lovers, the day when lovers give each other cards and presents and remember their love. But here in Wales, there is another saint, Dwynwen, the patron saint of Welsh lovers. Her day on the 25th of January is celebrated in Wales. And today we will explore the tale of Santess Dwynwen. It's a sad tale, but one we should all remember every 25th of January. So join me at the time between times. The time when it is neither night nor day, but the sun has gone and the sky is grey. Close your eyes, sit back, relax, and let all the cares and worries of the week disappear and just concentrate on the story, listening to the tale, joining in on one of the great myths of Wales. The tale of Santess Dwynwen at the time between times. Join me at the fireplace. We can hear the howl of wolves. We can hear the growl of bears. But we know we are safe here, with our gathering group, listening to tales, enjoying tales, and letting the cares and worries of the world wash over us. Today, we will go back to 5th century Wales, where it was a lawless land. The Romans had sailed back to their home, leaving warlords in charge of various parts of Wales, all these little kingdoms that had risen up and fought each other in great wars. And one of these warlords, one we will concentrate on today, was called Brychan Brycheiniog. Brychan Brycheiniog had 24 daughters, the fairest of which was called Dwynwen. She was the fairest maid in all the land, and many suitors came to visit Brychan in order to try and marry her. Brychan sat back. He tried to get the best deal for his daughter, the best dowry that he could. He sat in his hall and watched as lord after lord came in with promise after promise. And eventually he made a marriage for his daughter. At the time between times, just as the snow started to thaw and the winter winds started to vanish, he brought Dwynwen into the hall and said to her, "I have made you a match. I have made you a marriage. You will be married to one of the local princes." When he said his name, Dwynwen cried. She had met the man once and did not like him, but she knew there was no debate with her father. So she walked off into the hills and sat on a stone overlooking a brook and cried until her eyes could cry no more. The sun was starting to set. She could feel the chill in the air. But there on the road, she could hear the clippity-clop of a horse's hooves coming closer and closer, and she dared look up, her eyes sore from all the tears she had shed. She looked straight into the eyes of a wonderful, beautiful-looking young man upon a horseback. He climbed from his horse, his armour and his sword clanking as he walked towards her. He knelt down. "Are you all right?" he asked. His name was Milon, and he and Dwynwen fell instantly in love. For many weeks and many months, they would meet at the time between times at the crossroads near her father's outbuildings. There in secret, they whispered their love to each other. They caught stolen kisses, and all they could think of was each other. Milon and Dwynwen were the greatest of lovers. It was the week before her marriage to the other prince when she confessed to her father her love for Milon. Brychan's rage knew no bounds, and he grabbed Dwynwen and took her to the darkest dungeon in the deepest part of his keep and threw her inside, saying she was to remain there until she agreed to marry who he wished. Dwynwen swore at that moment that she would not marry anyone but Milon. And for days and weeks and then months, Brachan kept her in there with barely but the smallest morsel to eat. No kindness would she find. Eventually, Dwynwen prayed that this would end, prayed that she would forget Mylon, prayed that she would learn to love who her father had made her love. And one night, in the darkest part of the night, her cell was illuminated by the brightest of lights. As she knelt in prayer, an angel stood in front of her. All around her glowed with the greatest of lights, and this angel was the most beautiful thing that Dwynwen had ever seen. She gave Dwynwen a potion, the sweetest of potions, and said that this potion would make her forget Mylon, as he would be turned into a block of ice, there to melt in the spring thaws. Mylon took the potion and drank it. Dwynwen sat down, could think of nothing but Mylon. The angel said that now on the side of the mountain, Mylon was but a block of ice. Dwynwen panicked and said, "Please, please, let me forget him, but do not grant him this fate. I have prayed to God every night that this would pass. Please, let his fate be his own." The angel looked into Dwynwen's eyes and said, "God will grant you 3 wishes. Not 1, not 2, not 4. 3 wishes. Take those wishes and use them well." The angel was about to leave when Dwynwen stood up and said, "I will give you my wishes now. Number 1, my wish is that Mylon will be thawed and can live out his life as he wishes. My second wish is that God would always help lovers who could not be together. God will always ease the broken hearts of those who are apart or cannot be lovers for reasons beyond their control. And wish number 3 is that I would never be married, and I will give my life to God for what he has done for me here." And that is what happened. Dwynwen was released. She travelled to Ynys to Anglesey, and there she established a convent and lived her life, giving it all to God. And every 25th of January, we now know that Santess Dwynwen is there to ease the pain of all those unacquainted in love, who have lost love, or love is no longer possible for them. She died in 460 AD, and she was buried on the island. The church was erected in her memory. Its ruins are still there, and also a well where it is said lovers would pay pilgrimage by going there and making a wish in the well that all would be well in their love. It is said that in the well there lived fish and worms and eels, and those eels would say whether or not someone's love was possible by rising to the top or sinking to the bottom of the water. They are still there to this day, apparently, as is the ruins of Dwynwen's church, should anyone wish to visit. And that, my friends, is the story of Santess Dwynwen, the patron saint of Welsh lovers. I hope on the 25th of January this year you will think of her as she thinks of all people in love throughout the world. I hope on the 25th of January you may consider giving a card to one of your loved ones in the name of Dwynwen. And I hope that you always think about the bad, hard times that she had. She always thought of others instead of herself. Thank you for listening. Diolch yn fawr. Have a great week. Stay safe. And I will see you here soon at the Time Between Times. Diolch yn fawr.